What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode 124 of the Anthony Hudson podcast. And today I'm bringing on a guest to talk about the perfect morning routine. So if you're married, have kids, run a business, and wonder how in the world is it even possible to have a morning routine? And what does it even look like if it is possible? And how do you even make it happen? So back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Anthony John Amix podcast, the one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is Anthony John Amix. My friends call me AJ, and my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, welcome back. Today I'm bringing you on Anthony Hudson. He's the owner and founder of the Hudson Hustle, the RIP Routine program, and the host of the RIP Routine podcast. Anthony and his wife, Kylie, they work closely with parents and business owners and entrepreneurs to eliminate guesswork and help form unbreakable habits and really build a roadmap to achieve certainty in the 4 categories of life that they think is important, which is faith, family, fitness, and finance. And he believes that fitness is the foundation of all things success. It all begins with establishing your very own ripped routine. Now, before I bring Anthony onto the show, I want to let you know about a free training I put together. It's all about how to rewire and transform your subconscious patterns in 90 days or less so you can embody your potential and unlock freedom in your life and business. And you can get immediate access to that training by going to trainingwithaj.com. There's no opt-in, nothing like that. Simply go to trainingwithaj.com. And if you want to learn how to take advantage of some unconventional wisdom to embodying your potential and creating life on your terms, just go check it out. So with that being said, let's bring Anthony onto the show. Anthony, welcome to the podcast, brother. How are you?
I'm good. Staying warm. So
how's that hat hanging up, man? I heard the puppy ate the hat.
Yeah. So I had to get another one, actually. I mean, this one's the gym hat now, and then I wear the other one. It's my favorite hat. I couldn't have one with the the dog bites on it. That's what you get for having a puppy. Kids want a puppy. How are you gonna say no to that when you got 3 daughters? It's hard to say no to 3 daughters, man.
Yeah, dude. I only have one. I'm doing pretty good on saying no. We'll see how it holds up.
Good for you. That's tough. Being that, sometimes the dads get to be the fun one in the parenting world, right? And the mom's going to be the disciplinarian. But yeah, it can be a tough balance for sure.
What do you like about the hat, man?
Camo. I don't know. Camo's coming back. Lion's not sheep. So it's a brand I follow, and one of my mentors, actually, Sean Whalen. Little shout out for him there. It's a brand that he represents, and I think Lion's not sheep, right? Forging your own path, not being a follower, but being excited to just do your thing your way and tell your truth and be your lighthouse, and of course, not be afraid and worried about what anybody else thinks of you. You're the most important person in your life, and I just feel like what you can do to impact the world and not be afraid to do those things, right?
Awesome.
So,
man. Is there a time and place to be a lamb?
I don't know. I don't know if there is. I think yes, you can learn things from people, and but you need to form your own opinion, right? So that's one of the biggest things I've learned. Like, so many opinions, so much information out there at our fingertips, but you got to know what's credible to you, and you got to know what your beliefs are, right? Totally. So if you don't know who you are, then you kind of fall into that unknowingly, right? So I think you need to be very comfortable in your own skin and figure out who you are and who you want to be. So I don't think there really is, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I see. I'm on the counter opposite, which is totally fine, sure. By the way.
Yeah.
And I think there's wisdom in knowing when it's time to be a lion and rip somebody's face off. And then there's wisdom when you may be with your wife, you may be with your daughter, where it's time to be a lamb.
Yeah.
Like having the ability as a human being to have agency to know what archetypes could serve in this moment, and then having wisdom to show up in that, rather than us having these very hard walls of I'm only this, everything else, fuck off.
Yeah.
And that limits, I found personally, just me, my expression to evolve and grow and just be here and present.
No, and I don't disagree with that. I agree. You have to be willing to evolve and be dynamic and change, and you got to take care of yourself first in order to better take care of others, right? But you got to be open to that as well. So I agree. Sure.
Awesome, man. Well, tell me more about like morning routines.
Yeah.
You're big into fitness. How'd you get into fitness and into morning routines?
So fitness was just kind of something I fell into. I grew up in small town. So I live in Omaha, Nebraska now. I'm a small town farm kid, right? So
Awesome.
all we did growing up was work on the farm with my dad. And I say we have two brothers and play sports because there was nothing else to do. We'd have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to go to the movies or to go do anything fun, right? So sports just kind of was that. It kept us busy, and that turned into I ended up playing college football,
Nice.
and knew that strength training and stuff was fun for me, and I wanted to help other people because I think fitness is the foundation of all things success, and I think if you take care of yourself, like I said, you're better able to take care of others, right? And I would rather invest in my health now than pay for my sickness any time of the at any point. So that's kind of how I fell into it, and it just kind of evolved and grew from there. And full transparency, like I've not always been a fit guy. Like sometimes when we coach fitness or when we try to help others with their fitness, maybe we are forgetting about ourselves a little bit. And there was a time I coasted, like I was severely overweight. So going from fit to fat to fit again, that's been part of my journey as well. And that's okay. But, just knowing that I think it's important to have that in your life. Otherwise, you're not showing up as the best version of yourself, right? So, and now it's my passion. Like, fitness is confidence. I feel like, and for you to be fit and to know that you're working hard and getting 1% better every day, I think that translates to confidence, and then that gives you better relationships. You're better in business. You're better at networking. You're, so many great things can come from that. So I think self-confidence is a superpower, and I think fitness is a key way to go about finding that.
Dude, I totally agree. There's that question a lot of people ask, like, if you could go back in time and change anything. And I always hate when people are like, I wouldn't change anything. I'm like, you wouldn't change anything? Are you fucking kidding me? I would change so many things. And like, well, if I change things, maybe I wouldn't have the wife I have or the daughter I have. I'm like, I get that. I would still fucking change shit. Like if I had pre-awareness. And the thing I would change,
100%.
bro, is having more self-confidence at a younger age. Like, I feel like if I had more self-confidence at a younger age, I would have collapsed like decades of learning into like a year. Like things would be vastly different.
Agreed.
And I'd be okay with that because I already know what I got right now. So why not go back in time?
Yeah, no, I like it. And people don't think of it that way, unfortunately. Like it's the cliche answer to say, no, I wouldn't change a thing. Well, yeah, but if you really think about it, there's some things that, maybe you got in trouble a couple times, or maybe you, there's definitely probably some things that you would change that could have altered your trajectory. Ultimately, you're always where you're supposed to be at this very moment. And that's the thing. But it doesn't mean you can't want more and wish for more. And if you maybe would have changed some of those things, maybe you would be a little bit further along. So yeah, I get what you're saying. And I like it. I like it.
Man, I have been using the X3 bar for what, 90, 100, about 5 months now, I guess. Have you heard of the X3 bar?
Fill me in.
So the X3 bar is like this little barbell. I think it's only like 20 inches.
Okay.
And then it has these really heavy duty elastic bands. So it's like slow resistant training. And it has a little bitty metal plate that I can stand on or whatever. So I can do pretty much the key movements: deadlifts, chest press, tricep extensions, overhead press, squats, split squats. Bicep curls. And it's a quick workout, man, about 12 minutes a day. And I've been doing 4 days a week. They recommend 6 days. I just like my cadence of 4 days personally. And dude, my body feels great. It feels really good. And I'm not in the gym for 90 minutes.
I love it. So I have not heard of that, but here's the thing, right? You don't need to spend 90 minutes in the gym to get results. Everybody's a little bit different. I'm a big proponent of do what works, fit it into your schedule, but you have to schedule that time. So we talk about routines, and I still haven't got to your question about answering the morning routine. We'll get to that. Fitness, couple things. You don't have to tackle it all at one time. Like start small, build it up, small bites. You have the macro goal, you have the long-term goal you want to get to, but you have to fall in love with the process. So it's the micro goals along the way. So it's the small things each and every day, compounding, right? Habit stacking that's going to get you to that end goal. But you have to fall in love with the process first, because if we're solely focused on that end goal of a certain weight or a certain muscle mass or a certain body fat percentage, or just looking better, whatever it is, then once we get there, and it happened to me, right? And this is what I coach towards, because I got to what I thought the ultimate version of me was, and then I coasted and fell off. And then I didn't get back to where I was originally, but almost as bad, right? So that's where we can fall in a vicious cycle of not falling in love with the process, just going after and chasing after that finish line. But then when we get to it, maybe it's not as good as we thought it was going to be, or then we realize we finally made it, and then we take our foot off the gas.
So
right?
good. So I did this with X3, man. I was like, cool. Then with a group of guys, it was like 90-day challenge, keto. I think I did keto for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
It was like keto. And then we added on the weightlifting, and it hit 90 days. And I was like, okay, we did it. What's next? And so and now for this year, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a 12-month commitment this year. I've never worked out consistently every day, 4 months for an entire year. Let's take that on and build that consistency muscle. And so that's my challenge, my fitness challenge for this year. And it's simple, right? Like it's pretty darn simple. Just exercise 4 times a week for a whole year. And I either do it or I don't do it, right? And even this week or last week, I'm about 10 days into this now. I have this cold or whatever the fuck this thing is. It's not COVID. It's just whatever it is.
It's just something.
And I've still got my workouts in, man. Cause it's
there you go.
12-month commitment, baby. It's done. I got to get it in.
Commitment, discipline, and people fall into the discipline being punishment, right? Some people think working out is punishment. It doesn't have to be punishment. Like you can find things that you enjoy doing in fitness. Like, for me, kickboxing, spinning, I'd like to lift weights too. X3 sounds amazing. I'm going to go check that out after this, right? I mean, you have to make it easy. It has to be accessible, right? It can't be, if it's too far in left field or too difficult to do, or you dread doing it. There's just a difference between discipline and actually, hating doing what you're doing. Discipline is just showing up every single day and having that, no matter what, that's on my must-do list. It's not a non-negotiable, right? That doesn't mean it's punishment. That doesn't mean it's something you have to hate doing, right? So I think fitness should always be fun, and I think you need to switch it up a little bit. So I love what you're doing there, adding in challenges. That's huge, right? Having an accountability partner, having somebody that's going to hold you accountable, because not every day am I wanting to do those things. And guess what? If I didn't tell anybody that I didn't work out today, nobody else might not know. I'd be the only one that knows. And that's the integrity piece, keeping the promises that you make to yourself. But sometimes you need somebody else to hold you to those promises too, right? So that's that integrity piece. But go ahead.
One of the things that's really helped me, and maybe it helps your clients too, is the accountability piece. But it's like getting together some homies who are like have similar goals. Create a Facebook Messenger thread, group thread. We don't talk any shit in the thing. It's just literally a posting, done or not done for the day. Like really simple. And it's just a way for us just to hold ourselves accountable, really, more than anything. And that's pretty awesome, man. And I wish more people would just kind of do that with their homies, or they hire you or whatever to have that accountability, because it really does make a big difference.
Yep. We do the exact same thing. So a group of us, if we don't post our workout before 7:00, because I'm a big believer in that morning routine, sweating before the sun gets the cobwebs out, gets you in a clarity mental state, gets the adrenaline rush, and gets some of that dopamine going, right? Huge proponent of that. You don't realize how good you feel after a morning workout until you've done it a few times. But point being, if we don't post in the group thread showing our workout or stats or whatever you want to call it, then there's a penalty, right? There's some kind of penalty, just something small, maybe, it could be monetary, like $5 or a $5 Venmo, or hey, you got 50 burpees this week, those kind of things. It can be positive or negative, but it's just that accountability. So I love you do that. We do the same. It's great. It's awesome.
So how do people, like, because I hear this a lot in the fitness space, like 5 a.m. workouts, 7 a.m. workouts. If you conquer the morning, you conquer the day.
Sure.
It's fucking hard when you have children, a wife, a dog. And I get there's a whole commitment, like you either get it done or you don't. I get that. But how do we combat just the curveballs that are thrown at you on a daily basis when you're married with children and a dog and running a business and trying to get that morning routine like fucking dialed in?
Yep. So you have to sit down with your partner and you have to schedule it, right? So it starts with your family's the most important. So a big thing that I see people doing wrong is they focus on their business first, and then their family second or third, and then their fitness is even further along down the ride. Well, we need to start with you and your family. So again, you got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. So you're scheduling that time with yourself in your calendar. If it's 5 a.m. in the morning, you put it in there just like you put an appointment in for business, right? Same thing with your date nights with your family dinner nights, whatever that looks like. So you plan your work calendar And people are going to be like, I can't do that. Yes, you can, right? So you plan the work calendar around your family time and your time, right? So you schedule that time with yourself, you schedule that time with your family, and then the work gets put in between all that, right? So you schedule an appointment with you keep that appointment. You wouldn't bail on an appointment for a podcast or an appointment for a sales call or any of that stuff. Why would you bail on an appointment for yourself? So that's the key. And then balancing it. So for example, this is what my wife and I do. She's up at 5. She goes to her gym, gets up early and works out. I stay home. The kids are still asleep. They're up about 7. So that gives us both about 2 hours. We have Peloton downstairs. So I like to do cardio in the morning. I'd like to lift in the afternoon. So I go down, do my cardio, do my morning routine, my rituals. We can get into that more if you want, but so it's that balance. So she goes to the gym, I stay home, and then I go to the gym later when she's home, right? She picks up the kids. We both work from home. We both have businesses, but we balance it that way and we plan out our schedule. And we have a weekly big calendar for all the kids events, and we use Google Calendar in our phones. Everybody in there has their own events as well, and it's all synced up, right? So it starts out with a little bit of work, but it saves you so much time, effort, energy, and stress later on.
So do you do your weekly meetings on Sunday, on Saturday, or just kind of whenever, or do you have like a weekly set meeting schedule for the weekly meetings?
Weekly meetings, like for like business meetings, or what, like family stuff? Sorry.
For scheduling it all out.
Yeah. So usually Sundays is when we meet up and do all that. And then we just add stuff as it goes. So like if like parent teacher conferences were last night. So when my wife found that out, she put that in the Gmail calendar. I get a notification, right? So we do both. Sundays are planning days, typically planning out your week, but also sometimes it just kind of happens as it comes along as well. And that works okay, right? Awesome. Then we kind of revamp and overview on Sundays.
What's your morning routine that you like?
Yep. So for me, I'm up usually about 5 in the morning. Gratitude right away, writing it down, journaling, not typing it into a phone. I feel like there's a very important key there, that writing it down, seeing it written down on a paper makes it sink in more. So gratitude journaling, maybe 5 things you're grateful for. Can be as simple as waking up, right? We don't know how much time we have. Just getting up, being able to get out of bed, walk around, it can be super simple. It could be as in-depth as, hey, I love that my wife always does a great job handling our daughter's schedule and picking them up from school. And, so writing down what we're grateful for and why. That's the key. Why? Because if we just write down some things, it can get monotonous or we lose the intention behind it, right? So what we're grateful for and why. Sweating in the morning, right? So I go downstairs almost immediately after I drink a glass of water and hop on Peloton, and I'm sweating for about 30 minutes. Just gets me revved up and gets the juices flowing. Then it's a little bit of I like Wim Hof, so a little bit of breathing techniques, and then either listening to or reading something, getting some positivity in my mind, getting my day started with positivity. It can be a podcast, can be a book, could be a book on tape, audio, that kind of stuff. And then typically by about 7 o'clock, then it's breakfast time, making breakfast for myself, the girls, and getting ready for school. And then by 8, it's usually starting with appointments, calls, things like that. So that's it for the most part.
What do you do on those days when you don't want to get up at 5?
That's a good question. So usually I don't need an alarm, but that's basically every day, right? I mean, there's no days that I really truly want to get up at 5, but it's going back to the promises you keep to yourself, and it's going back to that accountability group, right? So it's like, hey, I can let myself down and nobody else would know, but I've got this accountability group that if they see that I'm not posting my workout, I'm paying the penalty. Same thing as it has to be a non-negotiable. Like, am I thinking about every decision you make, you need to think about your future self, not your current state, right? So when we have all these decisions, you're making a decision in the morning to wake up and get out of bed. But if I decide to go back to bed, that's a decision I'm making for myself in that moment. I'm being selfish versus getting to the most elite version of myself in the future. So if you just think about it that way, mindset shift, I think that'll help you a lot. Sometimes it's just, you got to sit straight up. Like, you got to sit straight up in bed and just go. Like, you can't even think about it. You just got to do it. So that's what works for me, at least.
So good. What time do you go to bed?
Between 10:30 and 11. So I'm a I guess quality of sleep for me is more important than quantity. Some people say you need 7-8 hours. Yeah, maybe. But if you're getting quality sleep, that deep REM sleep, and you're feeling energized and ready to roll in the morning, like, I'm okay with it, right? So 5-6 hours, usually about 6 is what I need. So 11 to 5, 10:30 to 5, something like that is about right for me.
Are there days that you don't get up at 5?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And then how do you give yourself some grace if you don't?
How do I give myself what? Sorry.
Some grace?
I try to keep. Go ahead.
There's a lot of high achievers when they don't do something, especially when they made a commitment. Their inner critic is like, piece of shit. What the fuck? You can't trust yourself to get up at 5 a.m. Then how the fuck are you going to run your day to day? How are you going to lead your fucking family? Like the inner critic sounds like that for a lot of business owners inside their head.
You're exactly right. So I have found over the years through other mentors and people, high achievers that I've been around, is like, you're probably going to have at least one day that shit just goes south, and you just have to kind of chalk it up as, hey, today maybe wasn't a win, and that's okay, right? We are so hard on ourselves for some of the silliest reasons sometimes, that sometimes you just have to chalk it up as, hey, I'll do better tomorrow, kind of thing. So that's part of it. I think if I don't wake up, especially on the weekends, I realized that, hey, maybe I needed this extra sleep too. Maybe this is my body telling me something, or maybe, hey, this is a chance to award myself a little bit, reward myself, versus this is, penalize myself, kind of thing. So it's just a mindset shift more than anything, I think. Easier said than done sometimes, but
yeah, man, how do we honor that dance? Because it really is like a dance, or some days, and there's some seasons of life where you're just like,
sure.
And then some seasons of life where it's kind of pulling back. How do we learn how to honor that dance more? Any ideas on that?
I think it's surrounding yourself with people that support you and want you to be better, and sometimes you need that outsider's perspective, and sometimes you need people to tell you, hey, you don't realize how much you're actually crushing it, right? Do you realize, you're doing this, right? So sometimes you need that outsider's perspective, because if we internalize everything, and if we feel like that's why we get so hard on ourselves. But sometimes it takes somebody else seeing you from their perspective, because we only know what we feel like inside. We don't know what other people see, right? And sometimes that can help a ton.
Yeah, dude. And I think a lot of high performers, and I feel guilty of this too, is we get so consumed with the top of the mountain that we're after, that we forget to pause and look back down the mountain at the parking lot from where we've came, and take an inventory, been like, fuck, man, I used to be down at that parking lot. I'm still not where I'm going to go. No. I'm going to get there, but I have come a pretty long way.
Yeah. And I give yourself a little bit of credit. Yeah, for sure.
I know, for my weekly meetings, when I track my wins for myself, wins for my clients, wins in business, that's a way for me to consciously look back at the parking lot. Love and that. Give myself some praise and some gratitude and some appreciation for just how far I've come, and just kind of living in that tension of I'm not where I want to be yet.
Right.
But I'm a lot further than I was yesterday or last week. And just living in the tension of that has really kind of nourished me a lot.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love tracking, clients' wins as well. And that's something I need to do a better job of. So I appreciate you saying that, because that's huge, right? Sometimes it's not, sometimes that means a lot more to me in most cases, and probably you as well, than anything that I've achieved on my own, right? So that's why we do what we do. That's why we try to impact people and coach and all those things, because we get that energy and that even more motivated when our clients are doing well. And that's the best part.
Yeah, man. I had a coach once. He was like, dude, grab your testimonials and wins, screenshots and all that shit, put it in a folder. So when shit's going sideways for you and you're like, my life sucks and I suck, you can pull up that folder and be like, hey, maybe I'm not as terrible as I thought I was. All right.
Okay, I'm being an idiot, right? Yeah, for sure. No, it's huge. I love it. Love it. Good.
Now, how do we dial in nutrition? How important is nutrition to morning routines and our fitness and our body?
Oh, I think you already know the answer to that, but I'm happy to address. So it's probably 80% of the battle, right? So you cannot outwork a bad diet, a poor diet, and that's cliche. You hear that all the time, but here's the thing, you want to keep it simple. You can't beat yourself up about it. On top of that, you need to make it a lifestyle. Where people go wrong, again, it's that finish line syndrome, right? Where we're just constantly chasing, I want to get to this weight or this body fat percentage or this pant size. And then once we get there, we start to coast again, or the wheels fall off. So I'm a proponent of we do what works with you, something sustainable. We're not tracking macros. We're not, in some cases that makes sense if you're trying to do like a physique competition, a show. Like I've done that in the past for clients and myself. But if we're just trying to be overall healthy, it's not eating like an idiot, not eating like a dumbass, right? So getting rid of a lot of the processed foods, eating real whole foods, getting rid of most of the sugars, things like that, limiting alcohol consumption. And I get it. Some people need that as a way to relieve stress. That's fine. Like I'm not saying that you have to completely remove alcohol from your life, but moderation. So I want you to be able to, if you're so strict with your diet that you like beat yourself up for eating a piece of cake or ice cream or things like that, you're going to fail, right? So it needs to be the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the time, like you're going to eat pretty good. And then 20% of the time you can have what you want, and you can have a burger and beer, you can have ice cream, you can have the piece of cake, and that's great. But I look at it as it has to be sustainable. It has to be a lifestyle. You can't just go with the fad diets, the Whole30s, the ketos, the things like that. I'm not against keto either. I mean, there's something to that for sure. But part of it is it's kind of a process. Everybody's a little bit different. So everybody's bodies reacts to foods differently. Like there's a reason there's food allergy tests out there and things like that, right? So it's not a one size fits all, but it is eat real good, whole, nourishing foods, avoid processed foods, and then still embellish and have a treat meal. I don't call it a cheat meal because that's a negative connotation. I call it treat meal, right? Maybe a couple times a week, those kind of things. So we can get more in depth there, but overall, that's the premise.
Yeah, when I was doing keto, every 3 weeks I would reset, and then so one day every 3 weeks I'd reset with whatever I wanted.
Yeah,
and it was amazing. I loved reset days. They're fantastic.
It's amazing. How did you feel afterwards, though? You feel okay? Like positivity wise, you felt
I felt pretty good. And then there was times when I was like, that was a little too much ice cream.
I love ice cream. That's my downfall for sure. Ice cream. Ugh. Why is it on earth? But that's okay.
How do we like come home to find the foods that we're called to? And here's why I say that.
Yeah.
We look and we're told by so many masterminds. We're told by so many things, so many exterior the sources of how we should be eating or what we shouldn't be eating. And it's just, I feel like for a lot of us, we choose nutrition based upon force rather than from a place of power. Like, I think it's healthy for some people to be like, you know what? I want to eat like shit and like just own the truth of it rather than like continue to lie to themselves. Right. So how do we like come home to find what we genuinely want to choose to experience?
Yeah, I think it's different every day, right? So it's that's pretty deep, actually. That's a pretty in-depth question. You're throwing me a curveball here. I would say, we can't use food should not be all the events, the celebrations, things like that. It revolves around food for whatever reason. I don't know how we got to that point, but food is a source of fuel and it's for your body. We only have one body. We only have one life, right? So if you keep in the back of your mind that, yes, I want things to taste good. There's still healthy foods that taste amazing out there that aren't going to put you in a food coma and a sugar high and totally just make you feel like crap afterwards, like a sugar hangover, right? So I think it's just keeping it top of mind. And ultimately, if you don't go to the grocery store hungry is one thing. So you don't have some of that stuff in your house, but also plan ahead, right? So you're coming home and already knowing. So we do food nights at our family. Theme nights for dinner. So we do family dinner every night. So like meatless Monday, taco Tuesday, Wednesday is like a healthy stir fry. Thursday night is breakfast for dinner. Friday nights is usually takeout or something. We'll go it we'll embellish a little bit more there. And then Saturdays and Sundays we kind of switched up. But the cool part about that is the kids already know what we're having. It's excitement kind of, and we switch it up, but that kind of alleviates the whole coming home to, I feel like a burger tonight, or I'm just going to go grab this bag of chips and cheese dip and just go to town because I had a stressful day.
Yeah, dude, I like the themes. Do you change it up every month, or how often do you guys change
it depends. It depends on what, like, the girls are like, I'm tired of eggs and for breakfast, for dinner, so sometimes we get them involved. Like the other night they made their own pizza. So they rolled their own dough, they did the pizza sauce, all that kind of stuff too. So if you make it a family thing where we're all involved, that makes it a lot easier as well. So we don't have a set cadence, I would say, but typically about every month and a half, we're ready to switch it up a little bit. But it's good. It gets them involved. And again, my daughters are 10, 5, and 5. So they're still at that younger age. Hopefully pretty soon they're going to be the ones making the food for us, right? They'll make the decisions and be doing it. And mama and I can kind of just sit back and enjoy. So
what's been some of your biggest like personal breakthroughs in your life so far?
Yeah. So the big thing and what I coach towards is routine building, right? So about 5 years ago, it was right when we found out we were going to have twin girls, right? So about 5 years, I would say the first out of high school, I was a pretty good athlete. Things came fairly easy to me. I didn't try very hard in school. I kind of coasted through life. Like looking back on it, you talked about it earlier, right? Looking down from the mountaintop. So played college football, again, coasted through college. Didn't work very hard. And I thought the thing that would be the same for me going into the work environment and to my career. So I probably coasted in my career and didn't increase my income for probably the first 10 years, too much, not significantly, right? Wasn't an entrepreneur, worked at corporate jobs, different things. And then I decided that I wanted more for myself. I decided that I had much more potential, and then it really hit home. So I started my entrepreneurial journey, and then it really hit home when we found out we were having twin daughters about 5 years ago, right? And I had just started a new job. We were just getting ready to open our second gym. My wife had just quit her job to start running the second gym so that we could put more time and focus on that. And we didn't know what we were going to do, right? It was looking like complete chaos. So, and we were super excited, but at the same time, like I was like, we're living paycheck to paycheck now, like 2 more kids at the same time, like 2 of everything, like all this stuff. So I was like, all right, what do I do every single day? I wake up, check my email, maybe get a workout in if I feel like it, go to work, whatever I've got on my boss has on the list for me to do, I'm doing, right? So I realized that I was trying to work through lunch, not getting my fitness in over lunch, because I thought by working an extra hour a day, that would get me further ahead. Ultimately, I decided I need to figure out where I'm at, and I need to figure out where I want to be. And then I need to develop a daily routine in order to accomplish that, right? So, and I really went in and I did a time audit, right? So I scheduled and journaled down, this is what I do from 7 to 8 in the morning. Like so much time, we don't realize it, right? Until we actually sit down and journal it out. But we've probably got an extra, most of us at least, probably 2, 3, 4 hours a day that we could be more maximizing and using efficiently. And we just, because we're not focused, or because we're living by somebody else's rules, or reactive instead of proactive, we're missing out, right? So and that gives us more time to do more of the things we want, spend more time with our loved ones, and take care of ourselves. So that was the big breakthrough, is like we were just, it was looking like we were about ready to fall off the edge, right? And I just had to do something different.
And did the routines, like, and instilling those and following those, is that's what turned everything around for you?
For sure. I mean, it was, being, again, putting things into a schedule and working with my wife, Kylie, like we still had to balance everything. So, hey, this is my responsibilities in the household. These are your responsibilities. We're business partners as well. So this is what you're going to do for your business. This is what I'm going to do for the business. And we don't cross those things over. So it's also balancing with your partner and finding those things out as well. So yeah, you have to have some type of structure in your life in order to succeed. You cannot, I thought it was cool to just take on the punches, like bob and weave, and whatever the world brings onto me. I'm pretty resilient. I think that's exciting. Like, okay, the world is going to throw this at me. Here's what I'm going to do, and react to it. But if I'm proactive instead of reactive and structure my day, then I have even more time and more flexibility to do the things I want, and I get more things done that way.
Well, you talked about how you do kickboxing training.
It's a tough word.
It is for me, apparently. And dude, you can only be reactive for so long. Like, I don't know if you've ever 100%. Sparred before, but if you just go in purely reactive, it's exhausting to bob and weave. Like, it takes way more energy to squat and bob and weave than it does to throw a punch or a kick, right?
Right.
And so it's almost like if we just have that mindset of being reactive, at some point we just get so fucking tired that we get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. You're exactly right. So playing offense instead of defense and, controlling your day. That's what it amounts to. Control your day.
Man. Nice.
Yeah.
How important has it been for you, like talking with your wife about that? I think not enough men, especially, and I think women too, man, as I'm just kind of pondering this.
Yeah.
They don't like communicate like their needs or desires and figure out how to co-create and take responsibility for it together. It's almost like either guy's like, I got to rise up and I got to fucking lead, or many women are that way too. And there's really not this co-creative thing. And you've talked many times how it sounds like you guys have been really co-creative. Is that true for you guys?
Yeah. So it hasn't always been that way. I mean, it's, growing up, it was, and that's how I grew up. Dad worked and mom stayed home and handled the house. Right. And I think now more than ever, there's almost maybe a shift, right? So where there's more stay-at-home dads, and that's fine, and moms are working, or there needs to be that balance, because my wife doesn't want to do all the at-home stuff all the time. Like, she wants to have a career, she wants to network and be involved in her business and those kind of things as well. So we have to find that balance. So she makes dinner, I pick up the dishes, right? I'm putting the dishes in the dishwasher, I vacuum, she does the laundry. Like, sometimes some of that stuff just kind of evolves over time, but you also have to set those expectations and talk about it. And I'm not saying, for the first 5, 6, before kids, we didn't do that. But then if you want to have a family, and I encourage you to do it before then even, but if you want to have a family, like, some of that stuff you just have to do, or you're going to be at each other's throats, for one thing. And for two, you're it's going to be stressful all day, every day. I mean, so yeah, could we be better about it? Of course. Do we need, date nights, sometimes are spent, talking, a lot of times are spent about talking about the kids and what we're needing to do, but also just talking about us and our goals and what we have for plans for ourselves and those kind of things. So we do regular date nights where we don't talk about business, but then we do business date nights as well. We've got money dates is another way to talk about it, right? So that, we're on the same page, right? Because she's got her business, I got my business, and then we got our stuff together as well. So
do you guys do the money dates weekly, or you guys do this bi-weekly?
No, those are probably once a month. More regular dates, and then once a month, just kind of check in. Hey, where are we at here? Where are we at there? And sometimes it's not even a date. Sometimes it's, the kids are finally in bed. Let's sit down and have a glass of wine and just, chat at home, right? It doesn't have to be you going to a destination or a venue or doing something super special. Sometimes it's just sitting down on the floor and just chatting it out. So
awesome, brother. And if you could go back in time and give your younger self wisdom to help him collapse time and get results faster, what would you tell him?
I would say go all in sooner, take more risks. I didn't start my entrepreneurial journey till I was I'm almost 40, probably 10 years ago. So we started I had a partner in my first gym business, I guess at 26 probably. But we didn't go into business for ourselves until I think I was 28, 29, 30. So it's hard, right? We get comfortable. We want to be secure. We want to have security. And there's comfort in that. But the beauty and the comfort is in the actual discomfort in knowing that you're working a little bit harder and challenging yourself every single day. You know that if every day you did something that you've never done before, or a little bit better than you haven't done previously, that's where that confidence builds. And that's where, like, hey, whatever happens, I know I'm going to be able to handle it and take care of it. So I think just taking a few more risks, not being afraid to start something, right? Not waiting. Like, if you have an idea, if you have a thought, if you are good at something and you can make an impact, do it. See what happens. If you fall, if you mess up, it's a lesson. It's not a mistake. It's not a loss. It's a lesson. Okay, so I learned it, right? Now the next time I try to do it, I won't do it again, or I'll do it better, right?
Awesome, man. And if people want to learn more about you, they want to learn how, like, to get into ripped routine or routine.
Yeah.
Where can they go, man? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, Instagram. It's just my name, Anthony Hudson. So ANTHONY HUDSON on Instagram. It's probably the easiest way to get me. I think I'm maxed out on Facebook, but LinkedIn's great too. So I'm in franchising as well. I'm in franchise development. So with the Ripped Routine is my main program for coaching. Work mostly with parents, entrepreneurs, business owners, but we cover all things: faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun. So that's what we focus on for the routine method, the Ripped Routine.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony.
Well, there you have it, my friend, Anthony Hudson in the house. I feel we covered some very practical things when it comes to like really creating the perfect morning routine. And look, I could sit here or Anthony could sit here and tell you like what to do every single morning. And there's some value to that. Yet at the end of the day, you get to come home to like, and what I mean home, I mean like to you, to yourself, to your soul. You get to come home to like what it is that you want to create and what is it that you really want to commit to. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Like, so what do you want to create? What do you want your body to feel like? What foods do you want to eat? And here's the thing, right now you may say like, well, I want to eat Snickers every day, all day. I'm like, cool, go do it. Go do it. Go eat as many Snickers as you can right now. Eat a whole bag. Hell, eat like 3 bags, 4 bags, 5 bags. At some point, you're going to realize that you don't really want to eat shitty food. Like when you get past all of the resistances and the indulgent cycles, there's a part of you that intuitively knows in your core of cores what you really genuinely want. And my encouragement to you is to come home to that part of you, to choose your best self from that part of you, because it's sustainable, because it's you. And look, I could sit here and I could rant on this for a bit, but I'm going to choose to get off my soapbox on this one. So that's all I have for this episode of the Anthony John Amick podcast. I hope it's served you, inspired you, and helped you figure out how to sit down and create like your perfect morning routine that works for you, that works for your family. If you know someone who needs to hear this episode, send it over to them in their DM, screenshot it, share it on social media, send them an email, text message, whatever it is that you have to do to get this episode into their ear holes. And also keep those 5-star reviews coming over on iTunes, because it's really what helps get this show found by more people. And it really inspires me to continue putting this show out every single week, twice a week. And thank you so much for being here. Until next time, my friend, I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amick podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamix.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.